Hi everyone, welcome back for another video. So it has been 3 weeks since I have been fully natural, and I've discovered so many things about my natural hair in those 3 weeks because I've gone through some errors and some corrections, and I'm not entirely there in terms of making sure that I correct my errors. Anyway, so error number 1 is washing my hair while it's loose. So what I mean by while it's loose is my hair is not banded, so I don't like create sections of hair by braiding certain areas of my hair to make sure that I only wash the braids. So what some naturals do is that they braid sections of their hair and then they wash those braids rather than their hair loose completely. And what I was doing was washing my hair completely loose and then trying to detangle it afterwards. So that's number 1. I've learned not to do that. Number 2 I've learned is to detangle with my fingers and not with a comb, because that has caused me quite a lot of breakage. So that's number 2. And then number 3 is to not try and manipulate my hair while my hair is dry. Okay, that's number 3. Number 4 is that there are certain types of moisturizers that don't work for me, or any kind of certain butters, I would say, that don't work for me. So any kind of mango butter or shea butter or anything like that doesn't work for my hair. It makes my hair feel very, very dry. And coconut oil doesn't work for me either. I mean, I don't use coconut oil as a moisturizer, I use it as a sealant, but it does make my hair feel dry. So those are the things that I've discovered in terms of moisturizers. In terms of other moisturizers that do work, and this is something I've known from when I was transitioning before, that Carefree Curl Instant Moisturizer does work, and so does this Wave Nouveau moisturizing finishing mist. That works, although I think I prefer this. But both of them have quite an industrial smell. Well, maybe not an industrial smell, but they both don't smell very nice. So that's the sort of downside of both of those two products. In fact, I would say this smells worse. Well, when I say worse, it's not like a horrible smell. It just doesn't have a pleasant, smell. It's not like conditioner. When you put conditioner on your hair and it smells heavenly. It's nothing like that. And this is, equally not a fantastic smell, but it's, it's bearable. And so, yeah, those two. And the thing that I discovered about those two is that they both have their first ingredient as water, and glycerin kind of holds in. Glycerin is the second, well, one of the, after water, it's kind of like the second ingredient, and glycerin is really great for your hair. And the reason why it's great is that it traps in moisture. It's kind of like a humectant, which basically traps in moisture into the hair and prevents the hair being like the moisture evaporating out of the hair. So that's why glycerin is really great if you have dry hair. So that's what I really love about those two products. The only thing I'll say about those two products is that if you're doing a braid out, they're not good for that. If you're going to do a braid out, don't oversaturate your hair with this when you're doing a braid out, because any little bit of humidity that gets to your hair will effectively make your hair very limp. So in England, it's often quite dank, and damp in the atmosphere because it rains quite a lot. So there's always that sort of air of misty rain, always somehow around, except in summer, and even then you get rain anyway. But in winter, there's that sort of like air of dampness about. And so when your hair is, when you've got lots of this in your hair, and then that dampness hits your hair, it will make the braid fall apart. Okay, so you'll end up with just a lot of, a sort of like an afro, but like a very wet and unkempt afro, and I have learned that to my detriment. So that's the downside of using this. If you are in a humid environment, I would not recommend these two products for you if you are doing any kind of braid out. If you're doing any kind of style where your hair is going to be put away, then that's fine. So that's just something I would point out from that. As you can see, my hair right now is in, it's basically mini twists. So I did some mini twists all around my hair, and then I've just put a little clip in the back, and then I've unbraided these ones at the front and just left these loose. And I'm quite pleased with the texture, actually, if you can see. I quite like the way this has sort of come out. It's not too bad. But I've been experimenting so much with my hair that I'm trying to figure out what type of styles will suit me. And out of sheer laziness, I have been putting my hair up into these kind of styles, so without anything that's going to cause me, you know, too much effort in the morning. However, it then means that when I wake up in the morning, I'm not always happy with what I've got with my hair, so I spend a lot of the time trying to like fiddle about with it to get it right, you know, to make me feel, you know, sort of good about it. But the limiting thing about, you know, living in an environment which is quite damp is that my hairstyles are limited. It means that I can't have any styles that are out. And in any case, I guess because it's winter, you probably don't want to keep your hair out anyway. So, you know, I guess it's good in a way. One thing I wanted to tell you guys about was the middle part of my hair. Now, you can probably see that my hair is very thin. As I mentioned before in other videos, it is very, very thin. And with my mini twists, you know, they're not full. You know, you can see that they're not really attractive. I'm looking like a boy here, so I'm really not liking this at all. But and that's the reason why I tend to put it up, because any kind of, you know, anything like this just exposes just how thin my hair is, and I don't really like that. So yeah, so that's that. What I'm wanted to tell you about was the middle part of my hair. And I mentioned before that my hair was breaking in the middle. Now, it's not too bad. It has kind of recovered a little bit, but it's still the area that breaks the easiest, and it's very, very difficult for me to keep control of it. And also it tangles very, very easily, so I have to be careful. And what I used to do was a lot of flat twists. So when I'm doing my flat twists now, what I don't do is flat twist the center. I tend to just do individual braids in the center, because, you know, when you start to bring more hair to add when you're doing a braid, when you're doing a flat twist, sorry, it ends up causing more tangles, and my hair just tangles so easily, and then it breaks. I'm being very, very careful with that area. One thing I wanted to show you is the area, is some of the breakage that I've been experiencing, so that you guys can get a sense of what I mean by the breakage, because my breakage tends to be very, very short hairs, and I don't understand why this is happening. So somebody might be able to explain to me why this is happening. And what I'm going to show you here is a wash day example of my hair when it's when I'm braiding. Right, so this is my hair from probably, I'd say maybe a typical wash day. There's not, well, maybe not, actually there's probably a bit more than that when I wash my hair, but as you can see, there's not an awful lot of hair there, and that wouldn't be too bad in terms of hair loss on a wash day. There's probably maybe, I'd say maybe add an extra double, this same amount times 2, would be the typical amount that I would lose in a wash day. So in the palm of my hand, it actually doesn't look like it's that much. But the challenge for me though is, if I sort of scrunch this or separate this hair apart, is the amount of hair that I lose that is effectively very, very short hairs. So I'm just going to put the camera down and I'll show you what I mean. Right, so I tend to lose hairs that are effectively no bigger than, I would say, an inch or so. So let's see how we can position this camera, like so. All right, so this is let's separate out this hair and try and find some hairs that to reference what I'm talking about. So here is a hair right here. This is the type of hair that I end up losing. It's a very short hair, and I would say that is no bigger than, say, I don't know, what would I say that is? I would say that is probably like about half half a centimetre I would say. And this is quite typical of the amount of hair that I will lose in any kind of given hair wash period. And here's another one that's probably maybe about an inch in length if I stretch it out. Okay, and again, these are the types of hair that I lose all over, and I'm pretty certain that most of this comes from the middle part of my hair, because certainly when I'm manipulating any part of my hair in the in perhaps the, say, the front area or any hairs around the sides, I don't experience this at all. So here's another piece of hair. So it's just an example of what I mean by the loss of hair that I'm experiencing, and particularly in the center where my hair is very, very fragile, and it sort of causes me a little bit of worry, really, and I don't understand why I'm still experiencing this. You know, despite the fact that I deep condition on a regular basis and make sure that my hair is moisturized, and you know, I try not to manipulate my hair too much, this is what I experience. And I just can't understand it. I don't understand why this should be happening. So if anyone's got any advice for me as to what I can do to try and minimise all of this extra breakage, I'd be really grateful. Thanks guys, bye.